Hello there, Bick Benedict here. We're playing Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and this is my crushing difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on chapter 6 of 9. It is entitled The Gatekeeper. So this is an extremely difficult stealth section that's coming up. And do you recall my saying that for stealth, I don't like to use grenades or the silenced pistols. Well, that's true for the entire walkthrough, except there's one enemy in this stealth section that is pretty problematic to get with just using bare hands. So I end up using the silenced pistol. I was trying to do it without using the silenced pistol, and then I remembered that it was something that I used on my guide last time, so it was just something I forgot. I guess I just forgot that I do like to use it, and there aren't that many enemies on this particular stealth section, but on crushing difficulty, the enemies are very sensitive to your movements. So you're going to be getting some C4 over here, and the thing about the APC, just to let you know right now, it takes 5 explosive impacts to destroy the APC. Now, you can only hold 4 C4s at any given moment. So you're going to have to either get another C4 after you detonate your 4 on the APC, or you can use a rocket launcher, which I would recommend. So you can get up to 3 rounds with the RPG. Now, I'm not sure who I go after first. I think I'm going to go after these 2 enemies over here. So I'm going to be going after some targets in not the most intuitive way that you might expect. It's just I'm going to be going after a couple of enemies first that always give me a hard time. So you need to kill this enemy first down here. If you kill the enemy on top of this building first, somebody's going to see it. I'm not sure who sees it, but somebody's going to see it. And you need to be careful when you pull this guy in here, because there's a couple of people out here who can see it. So there is a silenced pistol in here. So what I would recommend is that you kill everybody, and then you go after the APC. So what I would do is kill everybody, and then use all of your C4 on the APC while you're holding the RPG, so that when you do aggro the APC, you can finish it off with one RPG blast. And I think that's the best way to do it. And you also want to have 1 shot in reserve for the backup units that come, because it's not enough that you have to do all of this. You have to deal with backup units. But if you have the RPG, you can destroy the truck that they arrive in. So at the minimum, you need all 4 of your C4s plus at least 2 rounds with the RPG. And as I say, there are 3 that you can pick up. You can have a ammo count of 3 for the RPG if you want an extra one, but you don't need it. And sometimes when you're going after these chests, it's kind of a gamble if you're going to be able to make it. And the thing about the chests is that I think on this was like my first attempt coming back on having reset the game and quit out of the game, and my chests had reset, so I had to open them manually on this time. But if you don't exit out of the game, what I believe happens with the chests is that you open them once, and then the game will save that. So every time you reset the checkpoint, your subsequent attempts, the chests will be open for you. So that's just how that works. So you don't have to keep doing it every time. But these enemies down here are hard to get over to sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak back here, and there's one guy on the ground, and then there's one guy up top over here. And the thing about this is that when you don't want to you don't want to pull the guy on the roof down because his body will be seen. So what you want to do is you want to kill the guy that's in the grass first, and then what happens though is that because his path is so close to the ledge of where this other guy walks, and by other guy I mean the guy that you see right there on the top left of the screen, he's going to inevitably see that body, even if you haven't aggroed anybody, you haven't put them on alert. So I'll show you what happens over here. And going into cover like that is not going into the grass, so be careful about that. So we're going to kill this guy down here, and then this works out pretty well though, because once you kill this guy down here, he's hard to see, but he's going to be coming over to us by and by, this guy right here. It doesn't really matter where you kill this guy over here, because the next guy that we kill, he's going to see that body. So what you need to do is prepare to throw him down, and you invariably will get the alert sound when you do this. So he's going to come over here. You're going to get the alert because he's going to see something, and you need to pull him off. The truck is usually on the other side like that, so it's pretty good. And as I say, we have to open these chests because I came back having reset the game. So that's good in a sense. You don't have to keep opening them, which is nice. So you definitely want to be, every time you go to an enemy site, you want to be getting the chest if you can manage to do it, because you're going to need to collect all the C4, and you need to collect the RPG rounds. I ended up just going after the 2 RPGs. There was one chest that I knew had an RPG round in it, but I didn't want to risk opening that chest because it's visible to the tank, and you have to do it under extreme duress. And this is very difficult to get this to all work. And again, this is a stealth walkthrough, and if you would rather shoot the enemies, that's fine. But it's very difficult to survive if you're in a shootout, because the tank is going to be on you and everybody else shooting you as well. There are other walkthroughs that have pretty good positions of shooting enemies. The hill that you slide down, I believe that you can go back up there and aim around the corner and shoot enemies if you want to, and clear those enemies up that way if you want. I'm not sure if I think you can go back up that hill. But I'm just being really careful here because I don't trust jumping down here and getting seen by either the APC or these enemies over here. So again, there's a pair of enemies on this tower over here. And what I would highly recommend is that you kill the lower guy first, and then climb the tower and take out the guy that has the RPG. So he'll give us our second RPG round. Yeah, I'm not going to risk it. I think what I'm going to do is err on the side of caution and come back here. You've got to be really careful. I don't know how long this took. It was several hours, many frustrating hours trying to do this. So I'm going to jump down here, go into the grass. And it's extremely helpful too when you're going from patches of grass to roll into the grass. It's very helpful. You don't want to just walk into the grass. Anyway, I've never had any problems taking this guy out over here. No problems ever. Never got the alert, even though the tank was fairly close. So he's going to drop down in just a few moments. And you don't need to worry about the tank, and you don't need to worry about the guy up top. He never comes down. You just need to pull this guy off. Be careful of any time you're trying to grab an enemy and you miss. That's very bad if you miss, because it could lead to a fail. So drop him, come down here. There's a silenced pistol in there and some more C4. You're pretty safe from the tank over here. Just stay behind cover. Use that nice corner transition move. And he's going to come up here. So you can pull this guy over the little wall over to the right, or you can just stay right where I'm staying And again, I've never had any problems taking these enemies out. So we're just going to patiently wait for this guy to come over, throw him off, and his body will not be seen. Trust me. So now we're going to drop down, and we've got some enemies on the far side to clear. And I don't like going over to the left. There's just not much cover. So we're going to backtrack the way that we came. Pick up what we can. Oh, the problematic enemy, I was going to talk about that guy. He's actually in the very center. And he is... there's probably a way to kill him with just your bare hands, but he's very problematic. He's right in the center of the APC's circle of movement, and it's just too risky, far too risky. So the good thing is that you can take him out with the silenced pistol. Now, if you want, you can try to go for a headshot, but as long as you just do like 3 or 4 quick body shots to this guy, you don't have to be particularly, worried about being extremely precise, because you are going to be doing it under duress and a lot of pressure. So if you don't think you can pull off the headshot, don't even worry about getting the headshots. You can do the body shots. Oh, also you can pick up these weapons without even leaving the safety of the grass. And be very careful. If you're on the edge of the grass, if she ever stands up, that means that you're no longer in cover. So you need to be very careful when you're on the edge of the grass. And any grass that's next to cover, like I was saying just a few moments ago, if you put yourself up into cover, that means you're no longer in the grass. So this box over here is one that when I tried to get it once, the tank saw me. I'm not sure what happened, but I was thinking about it, and I thought, there's no way I can't make it just to get that C4 right there. Oh, and also, it's your choice about whether you want to put the C4 on the truck itself or just put it in its path on the ground. I don't like to preemptively put it on either. Some people on their walkthroughs I've seen, they like to put the C4 on the truck, and it will have that little red triangle signifying that you put it on. But I believe that will inevitably be seen by the enemies, and that could put them off their paths. So, yes, it highlights where the truck is, but we know where the truck is. It just does this circle forever around these buildings over here. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with throwing the C4 on the truck and how that affects the enemies. I don't want anything to go wrong on this, so I just wait until everybody's dead, and then I start using the C4. Because I just don't want anybody to get off their path, anybody to suspect anything. And I don't throw the C4 on the truck either. Once everybody's dead, I'll just throw it on the ground. I'll throw all 4 on the ground where I know it's going to be moving, and then I'll detonate all 4 at once. But like I said, it takes 5 impacts to kill it, or destroy it. You're not going to be destroying it with just the 4. So that's why it's essential to have the RPG to finish it off. And the moment you finish it off, you want to be on top of the highest tower possible, right in front of where the enemy reinforcements come, so that you can shoot the reinforcements. And ideally, we want to explode that car so that nobody jumps out and nobody has to be killed afterwards. If you have 1 or 2 enemies that come after you, that's no big deal. I'm not sure how many it drops off. Probably like 5 or 6, I would imagine. And there's no checkpoint either, so... Okay, so now we've just got like 3 or 4 enemies left. And this next guy, I don't trust this enough, so I'm not going to go after this guy over to the right now. I'm going to go all the way up and take off the guy on that building up and to the left. Not the guy in the center to the extreme left, because that's the guy we're going to take out with the silenced pistol. But I'll show you a good way to take off this guy that I've never had a problem doing this. No one's ever seen this. So, and what I mean by that is I've never had any raising of any alarm doing the move that I'll show you. So just wait until you can have a moment and then just roll into this next patch of grass over here. And the APC too, even if it's driving away from you, it could still see you too. So you've got to be really careful. It's kind of ridiculous. So I'm going to come back to that guy over to the right. I'll show you a good spot to take this guy out. So if you come over here, the moment this guy can be pulled off, pull him off, and don't worry about the position of the APC or anybody else. It just works really well that you can do that. Okay, now there's just one guy left. And the reason I'm saving this guy for my second to last kill is just because I've had a lot of instances where I've tried to pull this guy into the grass and other people saw me do this. Potentially the one that I just killed. Okay, so we're going to come on over here. And as long as the APC is not around and this guy up here is not looking, this should not be a problem. And you've got an incredible amount of protection in the grass as long as you haven't aggroed anybody. So if anybody's ever looking for you, you need to move out of your last known position and pretty much just clench your asshole and start praying to God. Okay, so this guy should be able to get pulled in here. There we go. Let's pull him in here. I like to roll away after. And okay, so there's just one guy left. We've got all the C4 that we can carry. I believe I've got 2 rounds for the RPG, but I think I'm just gonna go over here and deliberate about getting this chest. And in the end, I decided that it was not worth it because I have everything that I need. I have the minimum amount of items to make this all work. If you want an extra round, you can. And if this chest had been open, I would have definitely just went over there and got the RPG, because there's an RPG in there, by the way. There's also that really good handgun with the scope that you want to pick up before you leave over here, because it's very helpful at the beginning of the next chapter. And I'll show you how to get double ammo for it off of a reset. But when I do go over here, you'll see how precarious it is to take this guy out. He's just right in the center of everything. He's in the epicenter of all the trouble. And I just don't want any problems with this guy. So what we're going to do is just get as close as we can to where he's at, so that we don't have to be too precise with our shots. And unfortunately, it takes several shots to kill an enemy with a silenced pistol. I think it should just take 1 personally, but it takes up to like 4. It can be done with 1 shot if it's a headshot, but we've been doing this for like 20 minutes now, and I just don't want to, you don't want to risk anything at this point. This is so difficult to get it to work. That was kind of risky. But now we're coming back into this building over here that has the silenced pistol. You're not going to need more than like 5 shots with it. Okay, so now once we get the opportune moment, I'm going to rush this area and go into the grass. This was really, really risky to do this. But if you could just turn around. That APC is faster than you might think, too. Anyway, here, just roll into the grass quickly. What's in here? Oh, this is that gun. The gun that starts with a K that I have a hard time pronouncing. Don't leave this area until you pick that weapon up either. I'll show you what to do. Anyway, here he is. A few shots will take him down. Put him down fast. Make sure the AP's on the other side. APC, excuse me. Oh, so now everybody's dead. So now we have to destroy the tank. Now, you've come this far, and you need to make sure that you don't screw up. I've come this far and screwed up many times. Don't worry about it. It happens. You just choke under the pressure. But this is not the building where you want to make your final stand. The reason for that is because you want to be positioned so that the reinforcement tank is as close to you as possible, like right in front of you. So now we just need to get to the ideal building. And once we get up there, we can start putting down the C4. I don't know if everybody's dead and you put the C4 on the tank, if it realizes that you've put it on. I don't know. Maybe eventually it knows that you've put it on. I just don't know. And then it goes off its path. I don't know. And there are branches that you can swing off of, but I'm just not extremely familiar with them. So here's the building that we need to climb. And it's just best to do this because you throw all your C4, you land all 4 of your C4 shots, and then it's still not dead. So if you don't have the RPG, what you're gonna have to do is go after more C4 with this thing aggroed. You know, you can hide from it and it will de-aggro, but why would you want to fuss with that, you know, especially when you made this much progress? It's just, I think it's silly. And personally, I think it should not be more than 4 C4 shots. It's ridiculous. It's just bad game design. Anyway, now we have to put the C4 in its path, in the general vicinity of its path. It doesn't have to be too precise. But up here, it can't see us. So as long as we throw this stuff, we should be okay. So I'm just going to throw it down in its vicinity down there, all 4 of these. You know what I mean? So you throw all 4 of these, and it's still not dead. And then if you don't have an RPG, you're just scrambling around the whole area for more, and it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Okay, there's 3, and then there's 4. So you press the down button on the D-pad to detonate this, and it is going to be aggroed. Here we go. Okay, so all 4 hit. Now it just is going to take 1 RPG shot. Be careful that you don't kill yourself while you're doing this either. Anyway, 1 shot. Okay, so now that's finished off, right? So you have 1 RPG shot left. And forgive me as I just try to get my bearings here. I'm not sure where. There it goes. I'm getting shot. Fucking bastards are shooting me as they come up. Here they are. Just shoot 1 time. It will detonate, and then a moment later it will detonate again and destroy the truck and hopefully everybody that's in it. And then once you see Nadine, moving towards that dial over there to the left, then you know that everything's cleared. Now, before you leave this area, like I mentioned, you want to go back and pick up that weapon that starts with a K. I can't remember what the hell it's called, but it's right over here. So you can pick this up, right? And then once you get the next checkpoint after you turn the crank, you can come back here and get more ammunition. So although we have 5, you can go back after the checkpoint and that gun will be there again. So you can get up to like 11 or 12 rounds, pick up all the C4 that you want, pick up any more RPGs. And then, as I say, and I'm sorry to repeat myself, but after you pull this, get the checkpoint, go back and pick up more rounds for that gun. It's not imperative that you go back and get the gun, and it does imply that you're not going to be doing stealth. But the only reason I mentioned why you want to have that gun is that you're going to be hanging off ledges at the beginning of the next chapter, and to be able to shoot, you have to... what am I trying to say? I'm sorry. To be able to shoot and snipe enemies at the same time, it's handy to have this weapon. And if you run out of your handgun ammunition, you don't have the ability to shoot because you can't shoot with a heavy weapon if you're hanging off a ledge. And we're not going to be doing full stealth on the beginning of the next chapter either. I don't believe that it's possible to do full stealth, like clear everybody, because there's a wave at the end where you get seen regardless. But you can do stealth up to a certain point. What did you think about that APC section? Because for a lot of people, it really tests their patience, and people just don't like it. I certainly didn't like it until I continually tried it and realized that I had some pretty good methods of getting through it. I remember, I think it was like last year, getting a grasp on it and finding a decent way of handling the entire situation, because when you think about it, there really aren't that many enemies that you're required to take out, and I guess it's just having everything coalesce into a victory. It's really not the easiest thing to do. Now, of course, it looks really clean when you're watching someone's walkthrough, and of course you don't see all the failure attempts, and it definitely can be misleading to a lot of people, and it gives people a false impression of how much you did end up struggling on it. Now, while I can tolerate that section with the APC, I have zero tolerance for the I guess the mirror opposite of, well, it's not really the opposite, it's just kind of a parallel fight that you do in I think it's chapter 8, where it's a similar sort of situation, but the ambient threat, instead of a tank on the ground, it's a chopper in the air. And the chopper itself wouldn't be bad, it's just that there are so many enemies on it that it strains my patience to the breaking point, and I can't handle that much tension, to be honest. So what we'll do is we'll stealth it up until a point, and then just do the fight. So I think on chapter 2 of this walkthrough, I mentioned that we were going to be doing like 90 to 95% of the engagements full stealth, and I think that was accurate. 90, 95, I'm not sure about putting it to an actual number, but I think that was pretty fair. Maybe 85%. And you don't even have to do stealth if you don't want to. But it's definitely going to challenge you to get it through, get it completed if you don't do it that way. So we are carrying a rocket launcher. Overkill? I don't know. I'd rather have the rocket launcher than the shitty offering in this box right here. I'm not sure what it is, a Type 95 maybe, but there is some more C4. And I really don't like the whole setup of Chapter 7, the beginning. Oh, it's an arrowhead. And yeah, there is a Type 95. So there's some decent weapons if you want. I just like, see, the nice thing about having the ability to snipe while dangling off a ledge is that there are targets that are far away. They're hard to hit. So if you don't have the ability to zoom in with a weapon, you know, you're going to be in good hands with this handgun. And I really don't. I think it's an interesting setup that has a lot of potential, but I just think that it's handled in the wrong way. There's too many enemies, and enemies that are too many enemies just put in places that are hard to get past. I think they could have minimized how many enemies there are, so this could have been a little bit more doable. And again, I don't think that it can be fully stealthed either. Anyway, so Chapter 6, love it or hate it, you know, that's what it is. I will see you in the next chapter. Until then, please take care.